What's up, everybody? We are back with Against the Spread College Football Edition podcast. Pretty exciting week last week, week 4. I know that it didn't look like the best slate, but we did have some big games on there that were kind of exciting. We're kind of getting to that start of the season where everyone's in their conference play. Some of these ranked matchups are going to start happening. And last week was kind of the start of that. So first, you know how we always start off, guys. We start off with the week woes. So we got our week 4 woes last week. Some of the teams that we thought didn't really play up to par on how we thought they should play. Specifically, I'd like to go into a couple teams, Missouri and Kansas State. With Missouri, obviously they're ranked number 7 at the time, and looking at Vanderbilt is a team that no one has really thought of as a great team for so many years and hasn't been a great team, been pretty bad. But they've got some good transfer guys and they've been playing really well. And obviously that coach is really, really good. Like he's a really good coach. He's just at a bad school, I think, but he doesn't want to leave. So that's like the kind of situation he's in. So the good thing about the portal here is, hey, these guys that have these teams that aren't doing that well, usually if you're in a big conference like the SEC and you can recruit, like you're getting some good guys most of the time out of this portal because they want to play in the SEC. Because a lot of these guys, even in the portal, are still not being looked at by those bigger places, right? By the Georgias, by the Alabamas, Ohio States are still not being looked at by them. So it's not helping them out. But with Vanderbilt specifically, there was, I think the game ended what, 27-20, or what was the game exactly? How it ended? I don't remember the final score specifically.
27-30 or something. Yeah, 27-30.
Yeah, 27-30. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. And that was in second overtime, and that was after Vanderbilt just completely kind of fucked it. So that was on them. But
yeah.
even
Can't
to get
expect
to
Vandy to play good for too long.
But that's the thing though. Even getting to second overtime with Missouri is huge for that brand. And
Yeah.
still a loss is a loss. Like you can't chalk it up as a win. But we can sure as hell look at Missouri and be like, dude, people were looking like y'all specifically. I saw stuff on Twitter about Missouri fans laughing at Georgia last week, struggling against Kentucky. It's like, dude, y'all struggled against Vanderbilt just now. Like that's
And Boston College the week before.
Yep.
right, and both of those teams are not perennial powerhouses. Okay, I
Yeah.
can promise you, you're going to play more difficult teams this year in the SEC than that. So that's just one team I wanted to talk about, and then also Kansas State. I was watching this game, thinking, okay, Kansas State's probably going to keep this pretty close. I did have BYU +7 in the game, but I thought Kansas State was probably still going to pull it out. It didn't look like that at all. I mean, this
Yeah.
was a blowout from the get-go. I mean,
Yeah, not even close.
BYU completely took advantage of everything that Kansas State was trying to do. Kind of shut down their quarterback. The run game was obsolete, nothing. So when you look at the whole team in general and you look at BYU of how they did, it's also BYU special teams did really good too. They had a kick return, or was it a kick return or a punt return for a touchdown? I can't remember exactly, but also when you're playing all 3 sides of the ball very well, you're going to win most of the time. And for them, they just really executed. And that's just how it rolls sometimes when you come into BYU. So
Yeah, I mean,
anything for you there,
Them
Brennan?
fucking Mormons.
watching all these Big 12 games, man, I'm starting to think we might see like a UCF BYU Big 12 championship or
UCF looks
something.
good right
Like,
now.
I
UCF
mean,
looks really good.
but yeah, my week 4 woes, man. I'm gonna have to go with Kansas after a heartbreaking loss to West Virginia. They are now 1-3 on the year, which is only one less loss than they had it all of last year. They have 6 guys returning on both sides of the ball, along with their star quarterback Jalen Daniels, who missed all year last year. So they're pumped for this season. I mean, I was pretty high on them. I mean, Lance Leipold, great coach. They had Jalen Daniels coming back, Devin Neal coming back. I mean, some of their star wide receivers coming back. And they had 6 guys on the defensive side of the ball as well. But yeah, they have just looked pretty bad. First off, I
Awful.
mean, losing to a decent team in Illinois on the road, that's not horrible. But then following it up by losing, just really getting straight up beat by UNLV. And then this past week against West Virginia, I mean, they were winning towards the end of that game, but I mean, they ended up giving it up. So I mean, they're looking
You see, in
down
the
the
beginning
road,
of that
man.
game, they didn't look well. They didn't look that great in the beginning
Yeah,
of the West Virginia game. They like started coming back and making some really good plays in that third, fourth
yeah.
quarter area,
Which
but they
obviously,
still ended up
yeah,
losing.
yeah. That game got suspended for like what, over an hour, probably. I think it
Right.
was.
For the fourth
But
quarter. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, sitting at 1-3 already, and just Jalen Daniels this year, by the way, 56% percentage completion, 4 touchdowns and 7 interceptions through the air. I think he has like 25 rushes for 100 yards or something like that. But I mean, they have TCU coming up, Arizona State on the road, Houston, Kansas State on the road, and then Iowa State after that. They could easily be 3-6 after that, So they're not looking too hot this year. Very surprising for me to see them already down this path, but yeah, I'm gonna have to say that's my week 4 woe and a woe looking forward for them.
Yeah.
All right, let's make sure Sims Miller is watching. This message is for you and only you. My week 3 woe is Auburn, because what the fuck did I just watch? That was the worst football game I think I have ever watched, bar none. 5 turnovers. They had the ball in plus territory, I think, at least 4 or 5 times. It wasn't like Arkansas was holding the ball either. And then you still managed to only score 14 points after you benched what you thought the problem, Peyton Thorne, was. And then after the game, you have Hugh Freeze blaming the players. It, it might be a dumpster fire
To
over
be
in Auburn.
fair, they do need better quarterback play in
Agreed.
Auburn.
Yeah, agreed.
So
But
he's not saying shit wrong. It's just not something I've ever seen a coach really say.
yeah,
Yeah, I
just
mean,
So
I thought the same thing, dude. I was like, people were like shitting on him for saying that, and I'm like, dude, but he's
it's
not.
the
yeah,
Like
truth.
but
he's telling
he
the
also
truth.
has to take a lot
But
of
you
the
got to think that he's
culpability.
not playing. No, dude, he is not calling bad plays.
Yeah, but
He is
he
Dude,
would.
not calling
Okay,
bad
but my
plays.
point is,
They
hey,
are
this is
just
my week
bad
3
fucking
woe.
play.
This is my week 3 woe. My point is, he comes in to this season thinking that he has 2 quarterbacks that fixed his problem last season. He thought Peyton Thorne in a full off season would be fine. Blah, blah, blah. He didn't even go to the portal, get
I think
anybody.
he was
And then
blowing smoke.
yeah,
maybe but this is not going to do for Auburn football. This is terrible.
yeah,
You're looking now at Oklahoma, Georgia, Missouri, Kentucky, which they might beat you. And then you have Vandy, which is going to be what you're looking at 3-6 before you play Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Maybe
yeah. I mean, they
And
could
it's
lose all
Vanderbilt
of their
might
games.
give them a run for a money.
They could lose
and
all of those
Vanderbilt might
games.
beat them. And then your next win comes LA Monroe. And then you
Yeah,
have Texas
And
A&M
that's
Alabama. Like this might
yeah,
be a dumpster fire on proportions of Florida by the end of the year.
okay, but
This
I'll
is
yeah,
say this.
terrible.
I'll say this though. I really do think if Auburn does get a quarterback and out of the portal, or if they like a guy that's in high school, however they really want to do it. But if they do get one of the hot names, because there's going to be a hot name, it might be
yeah.
the kid. I don't know. I don't want to say anything yet, but I have some thoughts on who I think they should go after. But I really do think that if they can get somebody, I think that that team would be actually good. So Hugh Freeze isn't going anywhere. This might
Well,
be a
the
dumpster
issue
fire
is the
season,
issue
but
is if Hugh Freeze thought he could get a quarterback and this team would be good, he would have tried to get one last year, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
think I think
Like
I think he's obviously he knows that they're more than just a quarterback away.
yeah.
And that's something a lot of people have said is that Hugh Freeze knows that. But
Hmm.
with the recruiting, the transfer portal, everything they can do, I think that they'll have a little bit more of time to have those pieces and set in stone. Um, and getting all of these 5 stars and 4-star wide receivers and all this talent around, all they're really pieces that they're going to have to do are fill some of that offensive line hole, fill the quarterback, and maybe some of the defensive line holes. But you can do that in the portal now. Like it's
Yeah,
not. I mean, that's what Ole Miss did. Ole Miss went and filled every gap that they had on their team.
yeah,
I mean, and it was very easy for them to do. All they did was go to the portal and say, hey, we'll pay you this much and you can come here. And Auburn's going to do the exact same thing.
well,
So
we'll see.
it's
But
definitely a
that's
little.
a
It's
whoa.
definitely a little.
That's
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a little easier filling other positions outside of quarterback. I think quarterback's probably the hardest one to plug and play. I
yeah.
mean,
well,
outside of
I
maybe
agree,
Cam
but
Ward in
you're
Miami,
coming
but
out of